What's up, goats, and welcome to the first campaign review in the Battlefield franchise. We're starting with Bad Company 2 today, which came out in 2010, because the first game is a console exclusive for some reason. All you need to know is that Bad Company is where they put the unorthodox soldiers, and the Russians are pretty much at war with the USA. Also, we are very close to hitting 500 subscribers, so if you're new here, like the video and hit that subscribe button, because, you know, why not? But let's just jump right into it.
You missed a spot, Wyatt.
There it is. Now we wait.
This mission introduces Wyatt, and there was a bunch of reading before the mission started, so I'll just summarize. Basically, near the end of World War II, the USA sent a squad of commandos to extract this Japanese scientist from a Japanese base. Apparently, he had war-decisive information, so that's what we're doing here. The commandos are Wyatt, of course, but then there's McKee, Faraday, and Sarge, as well as another squad on another boat. You get near the island and have to cut the engines. Then the second squad pushes up and gets absolutely shit on. Then they start firing at you, so you dive under the water. On the beach, the attack starts, so now you start heading into the island. You lost your weapon, so you sneak up and knife this fuck. And this dude dies by a ghost or some shit. Then the same ghost throws me a weapon, so he's pretty chill. You walk up these stairs and the squad splits up, so you and McKee take the trenches. Then he shits on this dude. This is where you get your first taste of combat. Also, sorry about the FOV. I tried to fix it, but it's like fucking hardwired into the game's code. I pick up what looks like an M1 Garand from this Japanese soldier. I don't know why they would have that, but okay. You clear the trenches and move up to this wall, where you climb up this ladder. It's daytime now, so you start moving through the jungle until you reach this field. You have to hide from a Japanese armored convoy. Then all of a sudden, planes come out of fucking nowhere and just shit on the tanks. You start moving up again. After you cross this bridge, a cutscene plays where you meet the Japanese scientists. Then a super freaky noise starts playing.
Hang on a second. What the hell was that sound?
The scientist says it's something called the Black Weapon. With the Japanese army cutting off your primary extraction point, they cut the bridge and start moving, all while that scary ass noise is playing. You see some jeeps and move to take them. You have to clear out this base, and there's a ton of explosions. You hop in the jeep and play a shooting gallery for a bit. You reach the harbor, so you hop out and plan to take a submarine. You start fighting in the port till you reach a sub. Then a cutscene plays where they are all on the sub, and the weapon goes off. Then the mission ends. I don't think I have to explain that all of them died, but I'll give the mission a 7 out of 10. It sets up some plot details, and that sound was really scary, man.
There we were. Bad Company.
This mission you're introduced to Bad Company, which has Sweetwater, the nerdy character, Haggard, the redneck dude, Sarge, who is the leader of the group, and this is his last mission before retirement. I'm not even joking about that. And Preston Marlowe, who you play as. He's pretty much the most sane soldier out of all of them. You're in Russian territory, and the mission is to support a counterintelligence operation. Haggard starts leading you through a minefield when the dumbass almost steps on one himself. Since Sarge saved him, Marlowe takes point, and you spot a patrol and decide to take them out now. You shit on these dudes, and I try to pick up this gun, and for some reason, grenade is F. You reach this boat and see that the Russians have caught the spy, and this bald-head ass boy shoots him. Marlowe wants to take the shot until he gets told not to by command. Now you have to secure the town, and I get really fascinated with this grenade launcher animation for some reason. You start clearing the town, and here's where the destruction takes place. You can just blow holes in houses like it's nothing. Someone bullying you at school? Teacher gave you a bad grade? It's pretty crazy how good the destruction is. You reach the town and see that there's a fucking tank. Now you have to survive until you get air support. And blowing up the buildings kind of backfired on me since now there's no place to hide from the tank. Eventually you call in air support and shit on the tank, and this dude gets shit on by a radio tower. Now your objective is to locate a high-value Russian vehicle, so you clear more of the village. You find this truck and climb in the back, and this part is literal bullshit. It's completely RNG if you die or not. You have to defend the truck by killing all the dudes chasing you, but then there's this armored truck that rolls in, and it's damn near impossible to hit with the launcher. For some reason, it kills you in like 2 seconds. And if you get past the first one, another one just pulls up and shits on you. It's completely bullshit. I died like 4 times that part, and for some reason on my 5th attempt, I got it. I have no idea how. The truck gets stuck for a minute, and this motherfucker is about to ram you. Then a goddamn chopper flies in, and now you have to take it out. Luckily, it flies right in your face. Then the truck flips. In the cutscene, the squad is alive, and Marlowe spots the special cargo. Then the mission ends with the general saying it's a fake part for a weapon that the Russians are building. And since Bad Company is so good at being shitty soldiers, he puts you on the mission and tells you to meet someone named Aguirre in Bolivia. Then the mission ends. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. The mission itself wasn't so bad, but the truck part just pissed me off so much. Fucking dog shit part.
Next thing we knew, we were over South America, courtesy of an agency we couldn't officially name, working for a guy who sent units like ours to early graves every day.
This mission, the squad's in Bolivia, and you get introduced to the pilot named Flynn.
Fuck Tuesdays, man. I get my shit together on a Tuesday.
Then dude just dodges an RPG like it's a mosquito and sets us down on the LZ. You walk through the forest and reach a village and see a ton of carnage, supposedly done by Aguirre. You clear this house and it's empty. Sarge finds a map Aguirre left, so now you have to go upriver. You see some enemies moving in, so you drop them. Now you have to defend your position for a while until this bitch ass boat shows up and starts shitting on your house. So you grab an RPG, and I'm utterly ass at aiming this thing for some reason, so I died like 4 times. But after that, you and the squad hop in this boat and start moving upriver.
Shit. Did you see that?
You serious, my brother?
You get off the boat and start moving up until you get ambushed like Vietnam, so you have to take him out. Flynn drops a loadout drop for you, and here you can equip any weapon you've already picked up before. You start shitting on dudes in the village and hop in this boat, but it's way better than the last one. After legit 30 seconds in the boat, you have to hop out and clear the lumberyard. And honestly, I don't really mind clearing stuff in this game since the destruction makes it so enjoyable. But you make it up to these houses and just completely shit on them. And you can actually just destroy the whole house. You walk up this hill and, I guess the mission ends. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's pretty fun just blowing up all the houses. This mission takes place legit right after the last one. Now you have to take this dude out and take up a sniping position. You see Aguirre held prisoner, so Sarge and Sweetwater go to extract him while you and Haggard snipe. And look how this motherfucker is posted up all cool and shit. This part is cool because you have to match your shots with the sound of the thunder, like that World of War mission. They eventually make it to the house, and now you have to move down the hill. You meet up with the rest of the squad, and some comedy happens.
Who the hell goes to war in cowboy hats?
Cowboys?
Cowboys haven't been in a war for over 100 years.
Dallas Cowboys go to war every Sunday. Sometimes Monday.
Let's just find Aguirre.
A cutscene plays where Haggard cuts a tripwire and roasts Sweetwater for like no reason. Now you start moving through the forest while looking out for trip mines. You reach a cluster of houses, so you start fighting. After that, you move along this cool cliff and see a little camp. You split up from the squad and dive into the riverbed. You start flanking and start shitting on everyone. You run up the hill and spot Aguirre again. You start fighting in the village again for like the 5th time and have to clear it out. But again, it doesn't really get boring because in other shooters, you'd have to wait for the enemies to peek out and then pick them off one by one. But in this one, you could just blow the fucking wall open. Eventually, you make it to some kind of villa, and Haggard was totally safe there, but he wanted to show off. You take out the goons, and by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier, but you're fighting the local militia of Bolivia now instead of the Russians. You see Aguirre getting dragged off, and a fucking tank shows up, so you grab a launcher and shit on it. After that, you run to where Aguirre is, and the game glitches for a sec, but I save his ass. Then he does the same for Sweetwater. You show him the intel, and he says that he told the military it would be a fake, and he has some valuable information stored in the satellite. Then the mission ends. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. The comedy was great, but the whole mission was just basically clearing villages.
The satellite controls are in the Andes. Aguirre said we could bring it down. In theory.
This mission, Flynn is flying you to the Andes since that's where the satellite controls are. He tells you to get on the miniguns, and Haggard finds out he's a pacifist.
Fuck that! That'll fly with me, Space Muffin! I'm gonna argue you to the goddamn Magic Kingdom! Love you, man! You silly goddamn muffin-headed fucking liberal!
This part is pretty simple, just mow down the enemies. You land and have to make your way up the mountains to the satellite controls. You start walking up and see some company. Some bad company. Alright, I'll leave. I get shit on by some barrels, but you have to flank an MG nest. And these dudes try sliding into action with Call of Duty Ghosts, but bro, this is Battlefield. You reach the satellite building and bust in. And the funny part is you don't even have to clear the area. You can just interact with the machine and it starts the next part of the mission. Sweetwater somehow makes it crash land, so you now have to head to the crash site. You contact Flynn, but the winds are too rough, so he can't do it. You spot the satellite and a jeep, so you start heading into another fucking village. You shit on a ton of guys, and for a company who is basically supposed to be cannon fodder, these guys are really fucking good at getting shit done. You clear the village and take the jeep. Now you have to race to the crash site while fighting, and you legit can't see shit while driving. Like, I didn't even see that truck until it was in my face. You reach this frozen lake and a cutscene plays.
That is the greatest thing I have ever seen in my entire life.
Then the mission ends. I give it an 8 out of 10. The driving part was okay, but I liked everything else about it.
Let's get on the move to the crash site. Now.
This mission you start moving on the crashed satellite, and Sarge tells Sweetwater to get the black box.
Data server. Look, I'm not the Human Torch. I can't touch that thing. It's 2,000 degrees.
Now, since Sweetwater is a pussy, you have to defend the location until it cools down. This part only takes about 3 minutes, so it's not that bad. A cutscene plays and Sarge and Haggard go to get a vehicle, so Marlowe and Sweetwater are left to get the black box. They're retarded, so Sweetwater goes to find Sarge, and then Marlowe finds the black box. He then wanders into the storm by himself. You get contacted by Flynn telling you to follow the flares, and to find a fire if you don't want to freeze to death. Then it introduces a mechanic where if you stay outside for too long, your screen starts to freeze, so you have to find a house. Or you can start your own fire by blowing up some barrels. It does kind of add some anxiety when your screen gets hella frozen. This section is really cool, pun intended, and it only takes about 5 minutes. Once you make it down, you reach another village. You know what, here's the game. Do a push-up every time I say village, and trust me, by the end of the video, you'll look like this dude. Now you have to run through the village while the squad covers you. You hop on the chopper, and Aguirre shows you what the Russians are building, something called a scalar weapon, and Sarge says what we're all thinking.
First to be a localized Carrington event in the troposphere.
Stop. In English.
Basically, it's a massive EMP that can take down America's power grid, and the dude running the show is bald head ass boy from the second mission, the one Marlowe didn't shoot. Sarge wants to tell the general, but Sweetwater takes a massive shot at COD.
No. He'll just send some special ops douchebags with pussy-ass heartbeat monitors on their guns instead of us.
Then the mission ends. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It was short, but super unique with that freezing mechanic.
So we went south, toward Chile. I guess Aguirre had some friends in high places, because there were US tanks waiting for us. We hadn't had support in a long time, so it felt a little like Christmas.
This mission is a fucking tank mission, but again, it's not that bad since you can legit destroy anything you see. The squad is piggybacking off an armored convoy in order to find the bald head ass boy. First, you have to shit on 2 ECM radar arrays. I'm not even gonna pretend to know what those are. You take them out pretty quick. You move up the road a bit and see some tow launchers. So you take them out and park to use the UAV. And in this game, they don't give you radar pings. They just fucking call in a missile strike on your ass. Maybe I'm just dumb, but it took me like 2 or 3 tries to get all the targets. So eventually, I just stayed back and sniped with the guided missiles. You move up, and see, you can just run over anything, even parts of buildings. But now, enemy tanks start showing up, so you have to actually be careful here, since they got auto cannons and fuck you up. I hit a sick apex wall bounce and reached a waypoint. Now you have to mark targets for the air support. It's only 3 to 4 targets, so it goes by pretty quick. You move into the main village and start to look for Bald Head Ass Boy, whose real name is Kirilenko, but I'm gonna keep calling him Bald Head Ass Boy, because it's funny. After you clear the village, a cutscene plays, and Bald Head Ass Boy is nowhere to be found. Then a Russian prisoner says he knows where Baldy is.
Hey, how long you reckon?
10 seconds.
5. Bingo.
He gives you Baldy's location, so you start to head out, and the mission ends.
What'd you say to that prisoner, Sarge?
Nothing. Just told him why we were here.
He just gave it up.
Yep. Said he had family in Houston.
Texan. Sometimes people are just people, man.
Mount up.
I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's a tank mission, but an enjoyable one.
Okay, we don't know what to expect up there by the bridge, so eyes open.
I'm gonna run through this mission pretty quick since it's short and boring. So it starts as a turret section on the back of a Humvee. You start getting shot at on a bridge, and I turn into PewDiePie for a sec.
What a fucking...
After the bridge, you reach a tunnel and air support comes in. You get ambushed down the road and have to drive into the river. Then you get ambushed again and get out of the Humvees and have to call in air support again. With all the shitty soldiers dead, you go to capture Bald Head Ass Boy. Since the military wants Bald Ass Bitch dead, they're just gonna air bomb his position. So you have to run up while also getting bombed by your own guys. You reach a sewer and head up this ladder. A cutscene plays where you finally capture Bruce Willis, but he does make a pretty good point.
Always the same thing.
I beg your pardon?
You say, shoot him if he moves, but you will not. You should admit the truth of this situation.
Sweets finds a shipping manifest for some old ship or something. Then a fucking nuke hits the building, and Voldemort gets away. And Marlowe's a little bit upset about it. Flynn comes in clutch, and the mission ends. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Shitty ass turret section, but did have some good jokes.
I told you we don't know if he's dead.
Let's hope he is.
Otherwise, how about you tell us about the ship?
This mission you're tasked with finding that ship that the manifest came from, and apparently it's one from 1949. You need some wheels and see a jeep, so Haggard shits on the passenger, and for some reason the driver gets out and starts running, like, bro, what's your plan? You hop in the jeep, and damn, he actually made it a long way. That's too bad. It seems the Russians were using satellite imagers to find the ship, So now you have to go to 3 different points on the map in order to find the ship. I go to the far one first, and it's up on a hill. So you start walking up this canyon until you reach the top. And you can't see shit while walking up there, by the way. And if you die, you have to do that long ass drive again, and it had me looking like this, to say the least. Once at the top, you start fighting in this castle area like it's Elden Ring or some shit. You have to take out 2 choppers, and my dumbass tried taking them out with a non-lock-on RPG when there's a guided missile turret right next to me. Once the area is clear, Sweetwater starts using the terminal, and he says he has to stay here to adjust some stuff. No, like, that's legit what he says. Now it's another long-ass drive to the next point, but at least you don't have to walk there. After fighting in the village for a while, you hop into another jeep and start making way up to this lighthouse. You clear the area, and Sarge take this one, and it's deadass like your grandparents using a computer.
Okay. What's one of these buttons here? That. I knew I should have taken that adult education course.
He stays there, so you and Haggard start making way back, and I wonder what happens when you drive off the cliff. I didn't know what else I expected. Then I get sniped, and you know that guy's gonna put it in his montage that gets 2 views. You start another long-ass drive to the 3rd point, and this one is definitely the hardest, and of course it's the one where I only have 1 other teammate. You start fighting your way through the castle like Elden Ring again, until you reach a square, and then like 50 dudes drop from the choppers and shit on you. Yo, that dude was floated. You reach the top, and this dude fires a flare gun. You start clearing the area when a motherfucking chopper shows up. It's just on me in like 0.2 seconds. And then you have to restart the whole fight. Eventually, Haggard starts fucking with the machine and says,
Hey, if anything happens, you know, bury me at Cowboy Stadium, Arlington, Texas.
no. But now, thank fuck, it teleports you to the front of the castle. You take the ATV with a really funny steering animation and make your way to the last computer. Find where the ship is and start another long ass drive where you can't see shit. You reach this area and I parkour up, where you're actually just supposed to shoot these barrels. You start fighting some bad guys and oh my god, bro! You reach the ship and a cutscene plays where Marlowe jumps in. You start doing some parkour that's hard since your FOV is on like -5, but eventually the cutscene plays where Marlowe finds a box with a notebook on the truth of Operation Aurora. Apparently the US knew that the Japanese had a scalar weapon, but they sent in those commandos anyway. Then Marlowe spots something in the corner and takes it. Then the mission ends. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's one of the best missions, even though it made me super angry.
Things were really heating up with the Russians putting on the pressure. We went north to meet Aguirre so we could get the hell out. We almost made it, too.
This mission, Flynn is taking you back to Aguirre, but then your chopper gets javelined, so Flynn goes to put it down. Then the thing rolls out of the chopper and Marlowe jumps after it. Now you're parachuting and have to find a clear spot to land. Now you have to find your squad with nothing but a pistol, but you find a loadout drop pretty quick. And you also find Sweetwater. You get this big ass sniper and have to defend your position since motherfuckers are attacking you. Eventually they bring in a tank and my dumbass decide to throw C4 on it, and it doesn't work out so well. After you deal with the tank, you start to move up, and this motherfucker finds a scientific term for shit hits the fan.
Why is it when the defecation hits the oscillation, the squad is always split up?
You walk through the forest for a while and stumble upon the others. Aguirre tells you then to leave Flynn behind in order to complete the mission, and Haggard says,
Shit, I don't know about you, but I think it's time to go and rescue us a commie pinko liberal pilot called my friend.
you now have to find where they're holding him, so you start fighting. You take the smart approach and snipe everyone, but you still have to move in and clear the camp. You start moving up and reach a hangar. Marlowe saves Flynn and gets jumped.
I thought you were a pacifist. Sometimes even the Buddha had to kick a little ass.
And the others not being there is actually pretty fair, since I did run pretty far ahead of him. Flynn says he saw some choppers that way, so you start moving. Now you have to have a fun little race where you can't see shit. And I got fucked over, and there was no way I was losing, so I killed myself. Then Haggard takes a shot at COD. Eventually you reach the airfield and start fighting. I get about 3 minutes into fighting and die. Now I have to go back to the start of the fight, which is just really fun. Also, I didn't know you could blow up that bridge, so that's pretty cool. You find a chopper and hop on the minigun. Now it's another turret section. It's pretty boring. You take out some choppers, blah blah blah. You land and give Aguirre the thing, and he pulls out a gun on you. He's working with Patrick Stewart. Then Sweetwater discerns that Aguirre is Thomas Wyatt's son, so that's why he turned to the Russian side. Then he gets murked, so that was pretty much for nothing. They're about to open fire on you, then badass Flynn saves you.
Haggard! Thanks for the smokes, brother!
Oh shit. Flynn fucking dead. Then the mission ends. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It would be higher, but the turret section at the end just fucking sucks. This mission you're pretty fucked, and the group's morale is pretty low since they pretty much just Amazon delivered the last part of the weapon to Baldy. Then they hear some Russian talking on the phone, so Marlowe shits on him and takes his phone. The Russian comms said that bald ass bitch is heading to the harbor. Then that scary ass noise starts to play again. You see a massive plane, and I get shit on in record time. You start to fight in the village, and they start launching mortars at you. This part is also RNG if the mortars kill you or not, but thankfully it only took me 2 tries to get it. You start fighting in the sewer, or is it a wash? I don't fucking know. But either way, you kill a fuck ton of enemies, and you eventually reach this overlook, and just see a fucking war. Sarge spots the plane, and it starts glowing like it's got overshield on. So now the squad starts pussying out, and it's up to Marlowe to convince Sarge. Then Sarge convinces the other two.
This is interesting stuff, man. Don't you want to know how this ends?
You had me at interesting.
Come on now. If you leave, no more T-bone steaks, man.
Yeah. No more buying AR-15 ammo at the mall.
No more shooting trespassers on your porch.
No more biscuits and gravy.
No more Super Bowl Sundays. No more Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Shit. That's torque. Get out of the way!
Then the mission ends. I give it a 7 out of 10. It was pretty short, but it's also cool seeing the weapon being used again.
Yeah, all tech is dead. Look at all this scary shit.
You think Karolinko's on that plane?
Maybe. We gotta stop it either way.
This mission you have to traverse the blast zone, which means it's going to be a fighting mission. You start off the action straight away by fighting in this rail yard. I die and have to start the whole thing over again. I don't know why the checkpoints are really fucking bad in this game, but it's got to be a nightmare in hard difficulty. But look at this grenade throwing animation. After the train, you start fighting in the shipping yard. A lot of yards in this mission. A cutscene plays and my favorite dialogue is here.
That's an AN-225. Mira means dream. It's an enlarged version of the AN-124. Biggest ever built, can carry 253 tons of equipment. What? I can know stuff.
Apparently Ground Zero is safe from the EMP, hence why the plane is still functional.
So who wants to hijack a plane?
Fucking idiots. You start moving through the sewer and climb up this ladder, which conveniently leads you straight onto the runway. Then a cutscene plays where they jump on the plane and it takes off. Then the mission ends. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It was just fighting for the whole mission, but it did have my favorite dialogue in the game.
Knife the guard. Take his weapon. Go.
So here it is, the final mission in the game. You go to knife this dude, and then the other guy starts charging.
Take the shot. Take the shot.
Thank God. Weapon. Almost no ammo.
You make your way into the cargo hold and start shitting on everyone. I don't even fucking know, man. You find the weapon and it's a massive ball. And Sweet says it'll take an act of God or a lot of C4 to break open the door. Then you go to take the cockpit, and the ghost from the first mission returns and throws you a shotgun. Sarge busts down the door, and you light the fuckers up, but I still get shit on twice. You reach the cockpit, but bald head ass isn't there, and we're getting close to Texas. You see Jeff Bezos in the room with the weapon, so you decide to blow the shit out of the window. You shoot the shit out of the weapon, and the plane starts going down. They start jumping off until Baldy's basic looking ass steals your parachute. You dive after him, and mid-air shit on that bitch ass bald head ass Mr. Clean looking ass. You land in Texas and the boys are ready to relax. And Sarge is finally gonna retire. Then the general shows up and tells you that the Russians are invading.
Sir. No, they're not, sir. We just blew up that fucking ultimate weapon of theirs. P.S. Invasion canceled, sir.
Not here. They're coming in through Alaska.
Then the game ends. I give that mission an 8 out of 10. It was cool hijacking an airplane and finally killing that bald bastard, but it was pretty short. Well, that's Battlefield Bad Company 2's campaign. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't as serious as like the COD campaigns, for example, and it might be the funniest game I've ever played. The banter between the guys is incredible, and it's just the definition of the boys. And it really set up nicely for another sequel, one that never fucking came. But other than that, I'll give the campaign a solid 8 out of 10. It wasn't mind-blowing, but it was definitely entertaining enough to keep me engaged for the whole game. Now for the multiplayer. As you've probably noticed, I'm using Battlefield 2042 gameplay instead of Bad Company 2's multiplayer, and that's because EA permanently took the servers offline. But I do remember my brothers playing when I was a kid and seeing the destruction. It was truly next gen for the time, but unfortunately I can't give you my current opinion. Fucking EA. But anyway guys, if you liked the video, drop a like, and if you made it this far into the video, you are a certified GOAT. So subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.